Bang! Yeah, 713, don't step in this league, throwing rocks at the backboard. Living our dream, better dribble to the three, take the shot, here a cash draw. And we don't even care what you say, we ain't scared of the hate, get a win in this last board. Stand in the paint, better clear out the way, hit the court with the black force energy. Every single week on a killing spree, you kidding me? You talk about winning with the epitome, you better be talking with peace, and we locking the key on them. Know that it's rocking with Ryan and Donte, the drip guy, we beyond the gossip, the topics we talk on a pop, and we conquering the obstacles that we cross as a team. Shot from the seats, we the Rockets like Elon. It's the H-Town Rundown. Let's get started right now.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on a lovely episode today for the H-Town Rundown Houston Rockets basketball podcast here. I got my boy Ryan as usual. AP is a special guest. I got my boy Donte as per usual. And of course, you already know what's good. We got our boy back, Jonathan Sanford. Yes, sir. You already know what's good, man.
Glad to be back, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So excited to have you back, man. So Ryan, let's start with you, brother. How's it going, man? What's good? And we'll just go around from there.
Couldn't be better, man. Season starts tomorrow. We're so back.
We are back, baby. We are back for the Houston Rockets game, man. And yeah, first game tomorrow. Some previews. We got a lot to talk about today. But it's good to have you back on, man. AP, what's good?
What's good? We back, baby. Season starts tomorrow. It's time to get it going.
Absolutely. Donte, bro, as per usual, it's an honor to have you on, man. What's good? How are you, bro?
Man, it's an honor, man. Basketball season officially is tonight, man. We got our guys back, man. It's fun. Can't wait to go beat up on Charlotte tomorrow night, man. Let's go do it, man. Let's do it.
Absolutely. We're going to beat that. But yeah, man, I'm so excited for that. And of course, the J-Man himself, Mr. Sanford.
Hey,
the Houston
guys.
Rockets public announcer's back. What's good, man? How are you?
I'm excited. I mean, as you guys know, a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff. We're here at Toyota Center tonight, getting ready for opening night tomorrow night. Listen, there's all kinds of spoilers. Everybody knows what a spoiler is, right? There's so many spoilers. I can't give away all this, but listen, man, tomorrow night is going to be off the chain up in the Toyota Center, man. I can't wait, man.
Absolutely. And of course, we are honored with your presence as the GOAT returns.
No, I'm honored.
Yeah.
First of all, listen, let me just put it this way. I'm honored that you guys would even think to ask me to be a part of this, man. You guys are amazing.
Wow. Look at that. Love for love, man. I love going band for band on appreciation videos here. Let's keep it going. But we got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot to talk about. So I kind of want to just jump right into it, right? All season, we've done expectations for players and the team and whatnot. And now we got the J-Man on here. I think it's only fair we do one more season expectations, rolling out some milestones and goals for the team, as well as just kind of, understanding what it's like and talk about some of the preseason games, the energy from game 1 and 2 versus 3 and 4, and go in depth on that route. Obviously, congratulations to Jalen and LP signing some pretty solid contracts. Stone is a mastermind, I think. What a guy. Brian, please, man, take it away with that.
Well, I guess I'll start on the topic of Rafael Stone, starting as a team lawyer and making his way up to obviously one of the best GMs in the league, signing both Şengün and Jalen Green. I mean, writing for Rockets on Sports Illustrated, my boss told me the other day, when you write an article, you can only tell people are looking at you and they're showing, and you're writing about how you understand the game, the analysis you put into it, and the schemes, right? And obviously, Rafael Stone was able to prove that not to just the team, but to the league. From his time being a lawyer, from Morey getting fired to where he is now, and it's never looked better for us in the past 3 years than it does now as Rockets fans.
Honestly, we love Stone, bro. We love Stone for all of that and the journey he's been here, man. What a guy. And so now where we've got this, I've been calling it on Twitter the new era Rockets for sure. We've ushered in. We're ready. We've got second contracts for guys. Next man up is Bari and Tari here next year for some contracts, and I think that opens up a lot to talk about. But let's save the contract talk for later. We everyone's talking about it right now, so let's talk about what we got to talk about today. AP, man, I'd like to start with you. Kind of just some personal expectations and then we'll kind of go around the room a little bit. Let's talk what we're feeling for the season expectations. Just give one or two quick thoughts. Obviously, we went 41-41 last year, so there's room for improvement. But also, we improved a lot. 19 wins last season in a plus fashion. Not to mention the signing of Fred and Dylan, so kind of rolls on that aspect. But just two quick goals for you, man. Some expectations and whatnot. What are your thoughts going into the season?
I think one of the biggest things we need to improve next season is our road record. We did not play good on the road, and that hurt us a lot last season. I think that's just one of the big expectations is having a better road record. And, I mean, just keep this team chemistry looking good. I mean, the team is looking good, and I'm loving Steven Adams. He's looked good. A lot of good expectations. I'm so excited for tomorrow.
Absolutely. That's beautifully put, Donte, bro. Just again, one or two expectations from you, and then going forward, continuing off of what AP said, please.
First of all, man, I say, I've been saying this since this, not pretty much since the started, but this year, the expectation. I want to just, I know we're gonna beat some of those good teams because we did it last year. We beat some of those contending teams. The main part, beat the teams you're supposed to beat. I mean, that's how you end up making it. That's how you end up making it improving that you actually improve. We improved a lot last year. I mean, the first domino to fall, the coach, Ime Udoka. The way this team played, the way he didn't take no slack from these guys, the lineups, man, that he put together. I mean, it was phenomenal. Our defense, Alp going out, Jalen turning into a stud, to a top tier player at the second half of the season. But I just want to beat the teams we're supposed to beat. We're gonna beat the Sacramentos. We're gonna find a way to beat the Denver Nuggets. We're gonna find a way to beat those. Those are the teams that I know we're gonna figure out a way to beat this year. But you can't be losing to Detroit. You can't be losing to teams like Brooklyn. You can't be losing to teams like Utah. You can't be losing close games to Portland, which is we lost one of those games in the first game against Portland in Toyota Center, which we once posted. We lost the later game down the road against Utah. You got to find a way to beat those type of teams. And I can't wait to Wednesday night. This team is dramatically improved. Having Fred as the bet on this team. Having Fred as the bet up on this team, him not being able to turning the ball over helps us a lot. And Reed Shepard being the point guard just right behind him, I think that's going to help Fred out a lot. That's going to help Fred out a lot. Help him get that rest. That way he won't be playing 37 minutes a game like he did last year. But beat the teams you're supposed to beat. That's an expectation of mine that I want to have. Just beat the teams you're supposed to beat this year.
100%. At the end of the day, like that's the expectation for sure. Being the teams you have to beat. That's something I think we will all talk about plenty on for sure. Just making up some of those losses for sure. But Jonathan, man, just a couple expectations quick here. What are your thoughts going into the season? And is there anything that you for sure are expecting or just generally expecting for the team, players, and whatnot? What are your thoughts?
The biggest expectation for me going into this season is really kind of echoing what some of you guys have already said, but it really comes down to consistency, game by game consistency. You can't look great one night shooting wise and then the next night have that percentage drop the way we saw it do this past season, because especially on the road, that is the key to winning these road games, whether it's Detroit, whether it's Charlotte, somebody on the road that maybe you're expected to beat. If you go in there and you have an off shooting night, any team in this league is capable of beating you. So the one thing that I really feel like Rockets fans in general want to see this year is going to be that consistency, game in and game out. We went on streaks last year where we looked incredible. And then you would see the shooting began to slump, the turnovers began to be an issue, and then you're losing games. And that's the problem. When you're losing games in December and January that you should be winning, you don't think about it that much then until March rolls around and you start looking at the seeding and realizing, hey, man, if we could go back and it just changed a couple of those games in December or January, we're sitting here right in the hunt of a playoff spot. So 41-41 last year, correct, guys? Am I remembering that right?
Yes.
All right. Anything for me personally, anything over 45, 46 is moving in the right direction. If you give me 45, 46, 47 wins on the season, that's an improvement. it's really hard to tell what the rest of this conference is going to do. But if you give me that 5-6 game improvement on the win side of the record, then I'm at least feeling that momentum continuing to push the right direction for this franchise.
And I think we'd all like to agree with that, especially around that 45, 46 win mark. Now, I do want I want to sound then what can I get an exact number of wins from you that you want us to get? Because we've talked about, I've said on here 47, 48. I've heard people say as much as 52. I'm interested in your precise.
Who in this group has said 52? I want to know who in this group has said 52.
I don't think any of us, but AK, bro, AK on the Rockets round robin, he be talking. I'll tell you that.
AK.
I mean, I've seen people even throw out a 6-0 number, and it's kind of like, come on, guys.
60?
I've seen that on social media. Like, come on, guys. You've got to be realistic. You've got to understand this is still a growth. This is still a process. And to start putting that type of expectation on a team this young is not fair. If you had to pin me down to one number at the end of the year that I could say, man, this is incredible. If you gave me 48 wins this season, and I know that's asking a lot. I feel like that's asking a lot. But if you gave me 48 wins in the season, man, I am feeling absolutely spectacular about 48 wins.
I'm thinking that, yeah.
I think that's a solid number. I think that's a solid number. I think it's fair.
What about you, Ryan? You were kind of nodding a little bit. What's your mindset?
I just have a question. You were with San Antonio until the end of the 2018 season, right?
Yeah.
So I went to a game, Rockets versus San Antonio. You're gonna like this. Everybody was repeating one shot.
Yeah, two shots. Yeah, that
right.
Started. So a little history on that. My wife was dealing with cancer, and one of the local radio hosts in San Antonio said, "Hey, every time Jonathan, when the player's at the free throw line, he always says 2 shots." And he's like, "Man, I hear people, kind of saying that every now and then. Why don't the whole arena say it?" And next thing you know, man, it was like the whole arena was saying it. It was pretty cool.
Like I'm the reason when I noticed that you were the PA announcer for the Rockets was when I heard the one shot and no one else did it, but the voice was there, and I was like,
yeah.
That's
and you'll hear it. Hey, this last Thursday night.
So I go to school.
I heard it.
I go to Mizzou, but back home when I'm at the games, I'm one of the ones that do it. Like,
thanks, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot because it's. Here's the deal, and you can take this to the bank. I'm never going to ask our fans to do it. I'm never going to get on the PA and say, "Hey, y'all repeat after me." I'm not going to do it. If they want to do it, I'd love for them to do it, but I'm not going to make our fans do it. Yeah. San Antonio, they did it because they want to do it. They still do it to this day. They still do that, which is cool for me to the appreciation factor there. But I hear it from time to time in our arena, and whenever it happens, I chill bumps a little bit, a little appreciative of that. But yeah, that's the history about that.
Yeah, I was curious because it's like I just remember when you started for Houston, I was like, wait, something's different. I was like, I just naturally said it because I remembered it from going to a Rockets Spurs game in 2018 in San Antonio.
Yeah, on Thursday night we were playing the Spurs. I heard Spurs fans doing the 2 shots whenever the Rockets would go to the line, which was funny.
I did the game recap for Rockets on Sports Illustrated for that game.
That was a fun game.
That was a great game.
Yeah, that definitely was. Now, we've talked kind of general expectations for the team, and now I want to go reverse order, starting with the J-Man himself, and then reverse order. Do you have any specific milestones or goals for either a specific player or just in general the team? Right, you gave some wins and whatnot, but I'm interested if you're like, hey, if we can hit this milestone, that's going to show me that they're ready for the next thing. If we can continue doing this and this, kind of going forward.
My answer is going to be so different than probably anybody else's, but this is just something that I started thinking about at the end of last season, and that is I want to see the second unit become solidified to the point where it becomes a feature part of who we are as a team. We saw flashes of that last year, but then injuries, Atari and others began to creep in and change that a little bit. But by mid-season this year, by the midway point in the season, I want that second unit. I want to see where Reed Shepherd is at running that second unit from the point, how much he's been able to learn and progress and grow. under the tutelage of Fred VanVleet. I want to see that second unit because I really believe in order to contend in the Western Conference to the upper echelon of the Western Conference, you've got to have a second unit that's capable of pushing just the envelope even further than what we've seen thus far.
100%. I mean, we saw what it was like when Fred was off the floor, and it's no disrespect to the other guys. It's just when
No,
Fred's
not
off
at
the
all.
floor,
Not at all.
you know what I mean? Sometimes it looked real messy
Yeah.
there. And of course, Amen, I think did a fantastic job going forward, and throughout the season, he definitely got better. It's just Fred's
His
got
confidence in shooting looks good too from the Spurs.
That's
game.
been
He was
fun,
shooting
man. I gotta admit that's been fun watching in the preseason. Amen Thompson, his shooting looks a lot better.
Yes. Something I want to say before I get to Donte here is I think being the teams we need to beat, I think is equally important. But also something I think that I want to see more is beating teams by the third quarter. Not necessarily down 25 points, but like we're back and forth, whatever, but showing that we are the superior team by the end of the third quarter. We are the team that's going to win this game, either by energy, by physicality, by shooting, whatever it is. We need to have some sort of theme throughout that game that we can stick to and hone in on. That's going to help us win through the game. Donte, what are your thoughts on a milestone for a player or the team in general? But do you have something specific for anybody?
Oh yeah, I got some. I'm gonna tell you this.
He put out his list. Watch out, guys.
We are going to be a hard team. We're going to be a hard team to beat because Jalen Green, if he turns into a borderline all-star on the same level as Alp, the way if he plays at the level that Alp played at last year, but only if he does it in the first half of the season, not wait till the second half of the season. If he does it during that first half of the season, we're going to be a tough team to beat. We're going to beat a lot of teams because I think he's the key. He's the key. He's the strength. He's the strength of this team. He's the strength. Alp is the best player. Alp is the best player of this team. But the strength of this team, for this team to go places, I think Jalen Green. Jalen Green. We're gonna need Jalen Green a lot in this in this first half of the season. If he can just average, if he can get 23 points on great efficiency, and he shot the three ball well. He like he tweaked his form a little bit in this offseason. He shot three ball well in the preseason, very well. He had 7 threes, and all 7 of those threes look very good coming out of Jalen Green hand against San Antonio. If he can play on a borderline all-star level in the first half of the season and be more consistent with his shot selection and everything, we're going to be a hard team to beat. We're going to be a hard team to beat, and I think Jalen Green is the code cracker for us. Just to go places. So I'm gonna hold Jalen Green to a certain standard.
Okay, well, Donte,
go ahead.
No, I don't want to interrupt, but I think that I'm gonna kind of backpack off what you're saying. We've said it before, and I agree. I think Jalen Green is our ceiling, and Alperen is the Şengün. Y'all can, or the floor is Alperen Şengün. Y'all can make it that as y'all want to interpret that, but the way that I interpret it is we are top caliber S tier team with Jalen Green being our best player. And with Alperen Şengün being our best player. If one of the two are our best players, we're still going to be really good regardless.
I mean, like I was saying,
both those guys, man.
Chris, like I was saying the other day, like if everybody watched this show when we were kids. Everybody watched it when we were kids. Like if you watch Power Rangers when you were kids, you know this. Like Alp is the best fighter, which means he's the best player. He's the best fighter. But the strength of the team is Jalen Green. The strength of the team is Jalen Green. Alp is the best player. He's the best fighter on the squad. Jalen Green is the strength of the team. He's the Red Ranger of the squad. He's the strength for us to go far, reach our ceiling. I think Jalen Green has to be the ceiling of the team. He has to be the strength of the team.
To quote NBA Hero Ball, in order to get to Playoff Mountain and get above Playoff Mountain, Jalen Green's just got to be on top of his stuff for sure. And I agree. I think that's a general agreement across the board. AP man, what's some goals or milestones or something like that you like to see from the team?
Really, at the end of the day, my goal is just to be better on the road. It's like Mr. Sanford and Coach Donte said, we got to win those road games when they matter the most. We got to beat those teams that we need to be beaten. There's no doubt about it. If our road record improves, I have no doubt we're going to be a play-in team for sure, playoff team.
So,
Agreed.
okay, Jonathan, I have a question for you, right? So, obviously, you're involved in Rockets Twitter. You know what's going on. You see the social
Right.
media. Everyone does. Players do, whatever. Obviously, I mean, none of us know how connected you are with the players themselves or the team. But I have my question is, you might be closer with the team itself and the players than we are. And if that is the case, how do you see social media affecting them and the way they perform and the way they go about things?
This is true across the board for any team, whether it's football, basketball, baseball. Social media and interaction between players and fans has changed so much in the last, say, 5 to 7 years.
Mhm.
There was a time period where players really didn't connect too much in terms of social media with what the fans thought or, the feel of the fans toward them as individuals or as teams. But I can tell you across the board, whether it's college athletics or professional athletes now today, and basically they're one and the same, the amount of connectivity between fans and players is at a level that I've never seen it before. And that, these athletes, they care what their fans think. Like they
KD.
they feel it. Like they feel it and they react on it. Either they use it for motivation, for a positive benefit for them, or if you're a player who really struggles with that, it can become a situation where you need to put the phone down and take your mind off of it. And there have been players over the years that I've known of that have had to do that. Have had to just put the phone down and say, you know what, I got to do myself. I got to do my own thing. So in terms of this team, I don't really know yet what their full makeup is in terms of social media.
So I have a follow-up question, right? We've all seen the picture of Jalen Green in the fourth quarter when his head was down, Şengün's arm was over him, right? And we've seen how Jalen Green, like we're talking about Jalen Green, how we as a podcast are a collective part of the media, right? Even though we might not get seen by Jalen Green, we might, who knows?
Yeah, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know who's looking at your stuff, which is what my boss for Rockets on Sports Illustrated told me. But I think when I think of that picture, I think of social media and maybe how that affects players themselves. And maybe they don't perform well because they're looking on your phone. Like you said, some players just have to put their phones down or not use social media or things like that.
Don't talk about Kevin Durant like that.
And I guess the way I see it is it's like we're also talking about, oh, yeah, Jalen Green, Alperen Şengün. There's one Twitter user who I will not speak on his name. But this user, I mean, he is so pro Alperen Şengün, but so anti Jalen Green. And I think there's a stigma that Rockets fans are pro one and anti another. And I don't know if like the players themselves see that, but speaking on the behalf of me as a Rockets fan and the Rockets fans in total, we want both players to be just as good together and rise together. We don't want to see them just have one be better than the other because of social media. And that just goes back to what you're saying about how they put their phones on and stuff. It interests me how it affects them, I guess.
Here's something, though, that you have to remember in the equation, and that is your head coach, Ime Udoka. And we're talking about Houston for just a moment. Head coach that we have here in Houston, I've known him since he was a player. I've seen how he knows how to handle and how to encourage young players and how to build people up in the right way. I trust his ability to get in these players' heads, and if there is social media that's influencing them in a negative way, to know how to say, hey, this is what you need to do to move this into a positive fashion for yourself as a player and for this team. And really and truly, this team is not about one player elevating themselves above the rest or becoming like a social media legend. This team is about everybody coming from this base level and growing up step by step to where we all are elevated. That's what this team is all about. That's what I saw in San Antonio. That's why San Antonio was so good over the years. Is it wasn't about just taking one guy and shooting him to the moon while everybody else just kind of stood and looked around. No, it was about getting everybody built up together. And Ime has that ability to do that. I think he's going to continue to do that this season with the Rockets. You're going to see guys that are going to continue to grow that maybe didn't, find that much of a growth last year, but you're going to see them accelerate their growth this season. But it's going to be that the whole team grows together, not just one here or one there.
Right, exactly. And I think that's a collective of what most Rockets fans think. But there are some on social media that are just so wrong in the head and think
You just have to, it's just like a player. Eventually you have to ignore that, right? There's
Yeah.
always going to be outliers in anything in life. And eventually you just have to put that out of your head and know that there is a right message. And that right message is what you need to listen to and what you need to use to grow with. And things are going to be just fine. But that outlier stuff, man, you just have to let it go sometimes.
Are you taking life coach lessons or like classes? Is there a way?
Y'all
that was
don't know, but
beautiful.
That's part of my life. That's how I make most of my livelihood is through professional development and coaching. And so that's something that I take very much to heart, is helping people to learn how to take things in their life and facilitate it to their own benefit, to their own growth. And stuff like social media, if you don't use it the right way, it can take you down real quick.
I absolutely agree. So here's what I'm going to say about that, right? I don't want to go on the whole social media topic thing, but I was recently on my friend's podcast. It's called Social Media Sobriety. It's about not having social media at all. And I talked about the way I use it is just for business, nothing else. I don't post pictures of me and my friends. I don't post pictures of this and that. It's only strictly my articles, and that's it. And I think it is about the way you use it, the things you look at. It's all about the algorithm and the way you go about social media.
I mean, it's that way with a lot of things. So, like recently, I've got 5 kids. I've got 2 in college, 1 in high school, 1 in middle, 1 in elementary. And my youngest daughter, I went out and I bought her an iPod. Do you know what an iPod is? You guys,
I had one back in the day, yeah.
So I bought her a 5th generation iPod, and I put it in front of her, and I'm like, okay, I want you to learn how to use this. And we're going to put the music on there that you want to listen to. And it's not going to be an algorithm telling you what you want to listen to. It's going to be you deciding what you're going to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And she came from school the other day. Everybody at her school is like, they want one now. They want an iPod instead of their phone. They want an iPod because they can actually put on there what they want to listen to. And it's not about an algorithm trying to suggest, that they listen to this song. And it's been a big thing, Ryan. I've seen it catching on. It's called downgrading. Like, people are starting to understand the idea of downgrading so that technology isn't driving you, you're driving technology. And that's something that I've really started to really key in on in my own life personally. My wife and I, our kids, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I think it's also just going back to living the moment and living in the present.
Oh, yeah. And that's why sports are such a big deal to me, because it happens in the moment. As the clock is running, it's happening in the moment. You've got to stay focused in on the moment. That's why, for me, announcing is such a big part of my life, because it's one of those times in my life where everything else disappears. Every distraction that's in my life goes away for 48 minutes, and I'm able to just really focus on what's happening on the court or on the football field.
That kind of leads me to a question, right? Since I was in like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, I've wanted to be a broadcaster, whether it's for NBA on ESPN, for the Rockets as an organization, or just whatever comes my way, right? I actually interned with ESPN Radio 97.5 this summer in Houston. And I was just curious, like, how did you get to where you are, and what's the best advice that you could give to kids like me who also want to go into the journalism industry and broadcasting?
All right.
Okay, Ryan. This is something that people don't realize, or maybe they don't realize enough. You can go to college for 4 years. You can get a full 4-year degree. You can go on and get your master's degree. You can do all that. You can have every certificate behind your name possible. But here's the real deal. You'll hear people say, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. You ever heard that, guys?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about who you know. It's about who's willing to say they know you. Because if you don't get in there, if you don't get the smallest opportunity and treat it like it's the biggest deal of your life, and you build those relationships on those smaller end assignments that you get in life, where people go, hey, I remember when he was doing this, but he was doing it to the absolute best of his ability, and we knew we could count on him then that same person years down the road, when your name gets brought up for a better opportunity, they're going to be the ones to say, yeah, that's the guy you need to reach out to. That's the guy you need to talk to. It's happened to me so many times in my life. Before I became an NBA announcer, I was doing nothing but high school games, high school and maybe junior college stuff. Like, nobody knew me from Adam. But the fact was, there was enough people that saw me give my all to whatever it was I was doing, that when those jobs came up, those were the ones that said, hey, Jonathan Sanford, man, you can count on me. He's not going to let you down. He's going to, give you everything he's got. That's the way you build those relationships, is by from the ground floor, being dependable, being on time, being uber prepared. You can never be too prepared, whether it's a podcast like we're doing here, or whether it's anything that you are using for your particular vocation. You can never be too prepared. But really, Ryan, it's all about getting out there, getting your name out there, and building a reputation that people can depend on you. That will do more for you than any degree you've got on your wall. I can promise you that. I'm not putting down going to college. I know there's kind of movement with that nowadays. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that on top of that, you better be a person that people can depend on, because if so, they're going to be the ones that'll say, hey, I know that guy. I recently got a job announcing for University of Texas, the Longhorns. And in 2011, true story, 2011, I sat down with the athletic director of the University of Texas, and he looked at me and he said, you'll never announce for the University of Texas. And I said, why? Why is that? And he said, because you didn't go to school here. And I said, well, okay, well, I get it. I get it. And so I went back out, I did my thing and just continued to grind. And this summer I get a phone call. I didn't know it was coming. I get a phone call out of the blue. Hey, we want you to come be the voice of the Texas Longhorns at DKR. Why? Why did you call me? Because somebody that over the last 10 years that has heard me and knew how dependable I was, told him, this is the guy you need to hire. Like, you can do that, Ryan. I can promise you this. If you're that type of person who cares about your vocation and you're willing to be that dependable, those calls are going to come. I can promise you that.
And I think it just
That's beautifully said.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Wow, a lot of life lessons here today from the J Man. Look at that. I didn't know I was
going to be coming on here preaching today.
Part-time Rockets announcer, part-time therapist. I love it. It's all great. It's all great.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan is I don't want to get in the way of your teaching lesson here.
No, you're chilling. You're chilling. Yeah.
So there are a couple things that we should talk about going forward with the Houston Rockets. And again, beautiful story, by the way, guys. Honestly, go back like 3-4 minutes. Those of you that just joined, man, please watch that clip right there. It's actually very motivational. I won't laugh. I feel pretty in the mood now. Pause. But yeah, let's keep going, guys. I do have a question here though, from a Brett. What will be a good season for Reed Shepard? Now, let's start with Ryan, and again, just work our way around. I'm interested, Ryan. What would be a good season for Reed?
That's a hard question.
What do you consider a good season?
Comfortability.
Okay, explain.
I think a good season for Reed Shepard. I mean, we've seen in the preseason. We saw it in Summer League. He looks so comfortable out there for a rookie. But is that going to translate when he's playing with Kevin Durant out on the floor? Is that going to translate when he's playing against, let's just say LeBron James, right? I mean, is it going to translate to that?
Well,
because especially being the direct backup to Fred VanVleet, that's something that we need to see going forward. And he's shown that he has it in him. But we need to see it in the regular season against some of the best players in the league.
For sure. Preseason, I feel like, is dress rehearsal for the regular season. Obviously, it's preseason for a reason. It's just kind of, go out there, do your thing, but don't do too much of your thing. I don't want to see you.
Right. I think for me personally, Reed Shepard's a great shooter, 50% from 3 in college, but I'm sure that he'll get to that in his NBA career. But first, he needs to get comfortable.
And that's like you said, in the preseason, he looks pretty comfortable, but again, it's preseason. So
yeah, I don't want to set a points expectation because we know what he can be, but we also don't know what he isn't and how he isn't comfortable in the regular season.
That's a fantastic point. AP, what's your take, man? What's going to be a good season for Reed?
I think all Reed just needs to do really is just stay in the zone and learn from Fred as much as possible. Stay under his wing as much as you can. I mean, I don't want him to think that he has to do all these big-time numbers and stuff right away. Learn as much as you can from Fred. Stay under his wing and let him guide you to a good NBA career. Especially let him go through this season.
Facts. 100%. 100%. Who do you got, Donte?
To me, when I'm looking at Reed Shepard in the preseason, I mean, I look at it as that important as well because for 4 quarters, you're guarding some of the he guarded He was playing pretty well on defense. He does have quick hands, but again, he's gonna learn. Fred VanVleet is gonna teach him the way, man. Fred VanVleet is the ultimate veteran on this team. He's an NBA champion. I think Reed Shepherd is gonna benefit well. I got full confidence what Reed Shepherd is gonna do coming off that bench. He doesn't have to do much. He doesn't have to go out there and score many points per game. I mean, the IQ is there. The pick and roll decision making is there. I mean, for a small guard, man, he's guarding that perimeter very well. And I think that can when you're guarding the only time the guards that may give him a little trouble is the elite point guard because they're like Shea. He's more taller. He can get in the post. But Reed Shepherd plays hard, man. He plays so hard, man. He know how to guard the pick and roll real good. He's a smart decision maker when he decides to go up under screens or fight through screens. And he got quick hands as well. I mean, Reed Shepherd, we got some great veterans. Aaron Holiday, man, is a great veteran that he will benefit from. So I think Reed Shepherd is going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to have other defensive guys on the floor in case everything break down. So I think Reed Shepherd is going to be okay at that point guard position, coming out with that second unit. But having Fred VanVleet, having Aaron Holiday to come back, that's a big step up of helping this young guy. And Clay, if he is struggling, you do got Fred VanVleet and Aaron Holiday. It's going to lift them up. That's what you got the great veterans on this team for. So I got full confidence in Reed Shepherd. He doesn't have to put a lot of points. I think the shooting will come along. He's hitting the mid range. He's like the Chris Paul that we had. Every time he come off the screen and roll, that mid range jump shot is money. That mid range jump shot is like a layup. So Reed Shepherd is going to be fine. And he's a solid defender to be a 6'2" guard. Solid defender, man. Don't too many people don't too many people take the ball away from Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram like that and go down. That was just like a veteran move. What he just did, man. That was just like a veteran move. Plus, Brandon Ingram was 6'10". He's taller. For him to take the ball like that and go down the court and two-hand slam it, I think Reed Shepherd is gonna hold up pretty good.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't wait to talk about some of these preseason games, the energy between 1 and 2 versus 3 and 4 here in a second. But Jonathan, man, answer this question for me. What are your thoughts on Reed, and what's it like to be a good season for him?
Two things. First and foremost, earn the respect and the trust of your teammates throughout the early part of the season. And then number two, when it's your time to contribute in those games where you're going to be called on and to make some shots and to run the point in a tight game, coming off the bench, be the guy that they can trust in those moments. That's the two things. By the end of the season, if he's done those two things, then year one will have been a success for Reed Shepherd.
Beautifully said. I like the quick little song. He's like, yeah, I already got my points ready for Reed, man. I love it. Now, quick question is, they have Reed Shepherd leading the pack. I don't know if right now, but a couple days ago, NBA dropped their plus minus for who's going to win Rookie of the Year, and Reed is leading that pack. I don't know if he's going to get enough minutes to really win Rookie of the Year. I'd love him to. I'd love him to. I don't think he's going to get up like the true enough role to get that right, especially with like Zach Edey out there, and Donovan Clingan, and some of those other guys like Zach Ricochet. But I want you guys' thoughts as a general group. What are your thoughts on Reed on the rookie race?
I will respond to this. And what I think is, what's that? Something just sounded like it was buzzing in my house. Sorry. So Dylan Brooks told Vanessa Richardson ahead of Game 4 in the preseason that it was a dress rehearsal, right? If that is the case, and we're going to see how the season goes along, Reed Shepherd and Amen Thompson both got about 20 minutes. I know that Reed Shepherd hit that 20-minute mark. Amen Thompson definitely hit it. He might have been over. And if that's how this season's going to go, and with Reed Shepherd being the direct backup, if he is getting 20 minutes off the bench, and that is the true status of what we will see, what will happen, I think he can win the Rookie of the Year. Especially if he brings that comfortability in the shooting that I was talking about, that I think will lead him to be Rookie of the Year. And also his hands. He has super quick hands too. He has a defensive impact as well.
That's kind of hard to argue with there.
I think it's less I think it's less about the minutes. I think it's more about the production.
Sure. Yeah, sure. What is he going to do in those minutes statistically? But also, I think the advanced stats are going to be Reed's best friend in the Rookie of the Year race. What's he doing per 36, per 48, and then his effective field goal percentage to true shooting percentage. I think that's really what people are going to look at instead of straight up, points, rebounds, assists, and stuff like that. But I do think that he will get a few good amount of shots to average potentially double-digit points, maybe at that 10 mark. I just see it really hard with how many mouths they have to feed. But I mean, again, Ime's that everyone eats offense, so who knows? It's just going to be really interesting. Does anyone else have anything else on thoughts on that? The rookie?
It just doesn't feel like the typical NBA Rookie of the Year type scenario. It feels a little bit different this year, and maybe that helps him to possibly. Like you say, from a statistical standpoint, it's going to be judged a little different than maybe in years past.
For sure.
I don't think, honestly, Reed Sheppard needs to win the Rookie of the Year. I don't think he have to.
Oh, no, I'm not saying he has.
No, I don't think so either.
We don't have a single. We don't have a single player that's won Rookie of the Year. Look at where we're at now.
At the end of the day, if you can Reed Sheppard, I think he's going to be around the 9 points, 10 points per game, average game. I think he's going to get about like 20 minutes. It just depends on how he's going to be playing, how he's playing, and how he's playing during the game. Ime Udoka did a lot of that last year. If Cal Whitmore wasn't playing well, then you have someone else out on the floor. Fred VanVleet is the only player, if he's struggling or not, that stays on that floor. That stays on that floor. If he's struggling, he's the only one that stays on that floor. It just depends on how the floor of the game is going, how he's playing during the game. But I think he's going to be around that 8 to 9 points per game. The other rookies, Zach, you have Zach Edey and all of those guys, Buzelis.
Zachary Richeche.
Yeah, that is Zachary Richeche. They're going to be starters. They're going to probably be starters. They're going to get like 40 to 30 minutes a game, regardless of what's going on. So I don't think Reed has to really actually win Rookie of the Year to become the best player in this draft. Some down the line, but he's just, if there's anything, like I say, we're going to be more of the playoff team. We're going to be more of the play-in tournament team. I haven't Reed Sheppard doing that, playing hard and averaging, just going out there, adapting to the system. That will help us out alone. I don't think he needs to be the best player in this draft class this year. I don't think he needs to be.
I'm not here to say he is or isn't his nickname, but his nickname didn't win Rookie of the Year. Steph Curry did not win Rookie of the Year that year.
Yeah, I think again, it's all just, I don't know. I just have a feeling it's going to come down to advanced stats. I think straight up stats. I think Zach Edey is probably going to be the guy between him or that Donovan Clingan guy. I really have a big men are back kind of mentality. So if these guys are averaging 10 and 10 or 10 and 9, I think they're going to have a really good case, especially in the Grizzlies. I mean, you saw what happened with Evan Mobley, right? One of the reasons why he was so high up in the Rookie of the Year race, not because he was statistically great, but because his team was winning a lot of games. And I think that might come into play a little bit more this season. And we will see what that looks like going forward. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting race for sure. Again, do we want Reed to win? I think we all want Reed to win. He's going to be all-rookie first team. I think that's almost guaranteed unless something catastrophic happens. But I think he's going to be all-rookie first team almost no matter what. And we're just going to keep doing what we can do. But otherwise, I really think whatever. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. He's going to be top of the league in shooting. If anything, for me, I just want him to participate in the three-point contest. You know what I mean? Just for the year, go out there, participate in three-point contest. You know what I mean? Just get out there, do your thing, Rook.
Preston, what was that question? I didn't hear it enough.
No, it wasn't a question. I was just more or less continuing off of what
you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? But regardless, we'll see what happens. However, I do want to answer one more question we have on here before we move on to the final bit. And it is from Rockets Propaganda NBA at AK, by the way, bro. Go shout out him. He does a lot out there. What are your thoughts on Ime finally getting to build on a foundation he laid as his first time returning as a head coach? So being a second-year head coach. And I want to start with Jonathan on this one, man. I wonder what your thoughts are. with Ime, because like you said, you saw him as a player, right? You watched him evolve and grow into this phenomenal head coach. I mean, you saw him alongside the veterans, but I mean, we got to hand it to Ime, right? 41-41. He's obviously a large part of that. What are your thoughts on Ime returning as a second-year coach? And is there anything maybe he's instilling this year that he didn't last year?
I just think it's about this year. It's about maintaining or handling expectations in the right way, right? Because anytime you begin this process of building a franchise and growing, expectations are going to become a thing that you have to contend with, and the ability for you to be able to try to put that in the right frame of mind for the players. I think it's going to be the biggest test, especially if early in the season things don't get off to the start maybe that you want, then you've got to figure out how to bring things back in. And just looking at that, that's going to be a test for him, I think. This is the first year that we're going to see him in this scenario. So your guess is as good as mine.
For sure. And I think I'm interested to kind of deliberate this, right? Because again, first year vibes are always different, with new coach.
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't want to compare it to moving to a new house, but rather a new city. Just everything is new, everything is fresh. You've never
and
been there.
Don't you agree though? A first year guy, you kind of give a coach, and we're talking in general here, not talking about Ime. In general, you give a first-year coach grace in certain situations that you don't extend as much in year 2 or year 3. Am I right about that, guys?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's definitely interesting to see what happens going forward. Donte, give me your thoughts, man.
Well, like I say, man, the domino fall when we got Ime Udoka. I mean, of course, this team wanted to make the playoffs. Ime Udoka wanted to make the playoffs. Ime, this is a coach. What if it was assistant coach? Basketball player, I don't think he never missed the playoffs in his whole entire career. If I'm not mistaken.
You're right. You're right.
Okay, the goal
was
in
San Antonio. He never missed it in San Antonio, and then as a coach in Boston, he never missed it.
Thank you, Jonathan. I knew that tactic was kind of true a little bit. I just wanted to make sure I'm perfectly right before I go on. But other than that, I think the standard was started with him. Again, it was good that he took this job, and guys like Fred VanVleet, him wanted to mention being more outcoming to the players, being more outcoming to the public, and for Ime Udoka, that's what got me going throughout this first presser when he actually said we're gonna get some more veterans in here to lead this young group. When he got Dillon Brooks, when everybody thought Dillon Brooks was out of the league at that point, and forgot that Dillon Brooks can actually play the game of basketball. It wasn't just the Dillon Brooks that was a cancer. It was the whole Memphis squad that was seeming the culture wasn't over that good, but everybody pointed at Dillon Brooks, pointed the finger at him. We knew what we was getting with Fred VanVleet, NBA champion, veteran leader, not afraid to hold guys accountable. He was definitely doing that. His all-star, he was definitely doing that in Toronto, holding guys accountable in Toronto. And, him not being able to take nothing from anybody, him holding guys accountability is what Ime Udoka set for our guys. And a lot of our guys needed that. The discipline area, a lot of the guys needed that. And Jalen Green even admitted himself, we needed culture. We needed more discipline. That should tell you something about what went on the last 3 years. Sorry, AK, to bring that up. That should have told you what went on when we had Steven Silas. That should have told you all you have to really actually know about what type of coach Steven Silas. With no disrespect to Steven Silas, he's a great man. You can have a brewski with him and all that. But with this team right here, this was not the team he needed to be. We needed more structure. We needed more leadership. We needed more culture. And you saw what happened last year. And I think that kind of was setting a part of the foundation that we actually needed. And Ime Udoka is just a perfect coach for this squad, man. And immediately when we was up by 20, it was games that we were up by 20. Guys stopped playing. And you saw what's the first thing Ime Udoka get up and do in a preseason game? He got up and call a timeout immediately. And we got to keep playing. This game ain't over. So accountability with Ime Udoka and him being more outcoming to the players and outcoming to the players, that's what got everything going right there.
All right, quickly here between AP and Ryan, man. AP, give me your thoughts on this question here.
Man, to me, it was more like a culture thing. I mean, when he came in that first year, there was a lot of hungry mentality. These guys wanted to get in the play-in. They were fighting hard through March. And us Rockets fans, we were sitting there on the edge of our seats like, man, are we going to get that spot? We're hunting Golden State. And I love that. I love the pestiness on defense. I love the hunger. I love everything that Udoka's brought. And I can't wait for season 2 of Udoka and see what we're going to do now.
Absolutely. Phenomenal way to talk about that. And then, season 2 is just going to be a great thing. Ryan, man, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think Ime Udoka is obviously back for a reason. He wants to change the culture in Houston. He wants to win. Plain and simple. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
The moment we announced here last year that we hired Ime Udoka as our coach here in Houston, that's the moment I quit worrying about the coaching situation in Houston.
Yep. That's the moment everything you care about everything. That's the moment you knew everything was going to be fine. Everything, especially, that AAU ball we've been watching the last, 3 years we've been dealing with. But we knew everything once you signed him, and plus him just coming off the NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics. And I want to bring something up before we move on. That Boston Celtics team, it was not all good and gravy when he first started coaching them. Now they were under 500. They were under 500 for once upon a time during the All-Star break. That was an under 500 team until he called them out publicly. And Marcus Smart called Jaylen Brown and Tatum out publicly. That team was under 500 in the All-Star break till Ime Udoka finally said something, holding those players accountable. And they went 31-9 throughout the rest of the season and made the NBA Finals. So that I'm just want to let everybody know. No, people want to say, yeah, he came in with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, but it was not all good and gravy and donuts when he first got on that team. It literally, when he opened his mouth and called the team out after that loss in Orlando, because I remember that night they lost, they got punished in Orlando. When he called the team out to the media and in public, that's when the team got going right after that. So he like lit a fire. He must have said some words to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to that team before they got going.
Yeah. So,
100%.
Mr. Sanford, I just want to ask you a quick question before you have to go. Right.
Sure.
So I read a quote. It was from you, and you said, like, when you first heard the shot, the 3 at San Antonio, and everybody just chanted 3 after, right? You said that it gave you goosebumps, like it made like bumps on your skin, right?
Yeah.
I guess, have you had a moment like that in Houston yet, or what is something that you would want Rockets fans to do that would give you that moment?
Man, Ryan, I don't know, man. That's tough. Here's the thing, Ryan. For me, here it's more about the team. When I got my job with the Spurs, my first year I went to the NBA Finals. Won an NBA championship in 2014. All that other stuff, like the 2 shots and all that, was gravy. Like it. But here, what I want to see, what would give me goosebumps, is to see this city unite around this team. That's what I want more than anything. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about this. We've seen how the city rounded around the Astros, right? I mean, I want that. I want that for the Rockets. Like, I want during intros for this arena to have tons of people in it already. Like, I can remember when I was doing intros in San Antonio, like there were already 15,000 people there during intros. Like 2 years ago when I, was sitting here and we were doing intros and it's like maybe a quarter filled. Like, I mean, that has to affect the players, I want this city to buy in to Houston to the Rockets the way they bought into, now even the Texans. So that's what would give me chill bumps, is to look up here and see 18,400 people in this arena tomorrow night and hear them chanting, "Let's go Rockets." Like that would give me chill bumps more than them echoing a call that I make or something like that. I hope that makes sense to you, Ryan.
Yeah, I guess it's just so cool to me because it's like you said that, like, you shrunk in your seat when you first heard the 3 shots after 3 shots. And it's like, I guess when I think about me growing up as a Rockets fan and hearing that as you as an announcer. And then when I first heard it back in Houston, I was like, that's crazy. Like, it was like a memory to me as a Rockets fan.
Well,
right?
the reason that made me slump down in my seat is my wife was going through chemotherapy and radiation during that time. And like, I wouldn't get any sleep, man. I was up all night with my wife, and then I would come to those games and be announcing, and it was the only thing that kept me going. Like, it was the energy in that arena that kept me going. And that's what I meant by that, about making me slump down in my seat, just out of relief, like joy, like thank you, like thank you for supporting me, because this is like the roughest time of my life, and y'all are here for me in an incredible way. So that's what I meant by it. By the way, I saw that comment about if we win, they'll come. Well, we're working on that. It's a process, and it's going to be there. But you know what? There have been Rockets fans that have been here for the last 3 years, even though we haven't been winning, at the level they did during the Harden years. I'm not going to forget those fans. I'm not going to forget those fans that have been here the last few years supporting this team during the tough times.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautifully well said. And I think that's the best way to end it off right there. I think most importantly, we need to let the other teams know that, you know what I mean? We need to let them know this season. We need to let them know this is the season to really make it happen. And I think it's time. People got paid contracts, like we said. There's a lot of storylines coming into the season. We won 41 games last year. What's the improvement looking like? A lot of changes throughout the season. To all the teams in the West, and teams are getting older. One more year of them getting older, and one more year of our guys being the young guns that they are, that can just run the teams at the gym. I'm excited.
Stay healthy, stay motivated, stay strong, and it's going to take care of everything else.
Absolutely. What a quote to end off, man. I love it here, guys. So we'll start with Jay, man. Here, bro. Plug yourself in. Where can we find you?
Hey guys, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter at the J Sanford. Man, I try to follow everybody back who follows me. I'm not a big social media guru, guys. I'm a dad. I'm a dad with 5 children. I don't have time to be in there engaging everybody, but I do try to follow anybody back that follows me. I love all of our Rockets family. I love all of you folks who are supporting this podcast and this live stream tonight. Thanks.
Absolutely. We appreciate you, man, for jumping on once again, man. It's an honor to have you. Donte, bro, plug yourself in, man. Where can we find you?
Y'all can find me at Coach Donte 5 on IG. Y'all know, if y'all know me on IG. Diehard Rockets fan, like Jonathan Sanford said, but I also support the high school community, go to different high school football games, basketball games, and stuff. Y'all can find me on X, Coach Donte 31. Y'all find me on YouTube on Coach Donte. Man, I'm ready for this Rocket season, and it starts off against Charlotte. Going to go put some paws on Charlotte tomorrow night. So that's how our season going to start tomorrow.
Sir.
We finna have them
Why are you running?
We finna have them going crazy, bro. Hey, I don't know if y'all heard, but they big man is out. So we finna be eating. We finna be eating tomorrow. AP man, where can we find you, brother?
You can find me on Clutch City Connect and Rockets Round Robin, both on X and Facebook. So make sure you follow me and the rest of the crew on Rockets Round Robin. You can find me on both of those.
Absolutely, man. And it's great to have you on again, man. I appreciate you being able to jump on with us today. Good to talk Rockets ball. And Ryan, brother, before we end off, where can we find you?
Yeah, you already know where to find me. Y'all can find me here on the HTOWN Rundown podcast. Y'all can find me on Rockets Round Robin podcast. Y'all can find me on Rockets on Sports Illustrated. New article out today. Expectations for Tari Eason going into the season. Y'all can find me on Instagram at RyanDiamond15 and on Twitter at RyanDiamond15.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to follow the podcast at the HTOWN Rundown on X as well as YouTube and Instagram. We're actually doing a giveaway. We got a nice little Dunkstronaut bobblehead we giving away. Y'all love the hometown heroes edition stuff, so we got to give it away. All right.
And make sure you get it before I get it.
Get it. I already see AP commenting on the videos.
That's
If
right.
y'all don't want it that bad, AP finna get it. So you best be commenting down below. Follow the channel. Comment in one of the YouTube videos. Send a screenshot to the HTOWN Rundown on X so you can get your free $3.99, man. I'm gonna ship it to you for free. All right, so come get it. Come get it. Throughout the season, we can do more giveaways, tickets, and all that stuff. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow me, your host, at drip2ps_GAWD on X, as well as Instagram. Guys, it's been a wonderful time. Thank you again, Jonathan, man, for jumping on. And you know where to find us. You'll see us on Friday. And let's